talking here. I'll start with you, Superintendent Johnson, on all things Forsan ISD on back to school. In our conversation out in the lobby, it sounded like everything was going along pretty smoothly. We'll touch on briefly the news we had before school officially got underway that we were talking with all of the school districts about, and that was the new A through F rating system. Actually, in Howard County, you guys came across pretty well. I think you got a B for your district.
We did get a B. We got there's an overall score, and that was the B. Mm-hmm. And then there's sub points underneath that we start looking at too. And it's a system that none of us like, so we
right.
kind of get that out there quickly.
I think everyone will agree. That's what I'm getting from all of you across the state.
Well, you're exactly right, across the state. But at the same time, it's kind of like going into your boss and for your annual evaluation at work, and if the boss just says, hey, you're doing a great job, and you shake his hand, turn around and walk out, you didn't get any better. You maybe felt good about it, but you didn't get any better through that process. And so in this situation, I think all of us, Howard County and across the state, we're going to look at those things and work to get better. So on that particular situation and this particular rating system, you're right, we got a B on the overall, but there's lots of data that goes into that.
Right.
Lots of things to dig through and look at, and that's what we've been doing over the last few weeks. So we're going to do that. Again, we're excited to have a B, without a doubt. We'd like to have an A, and so we're going to work towards that.
The A's were really rare, but we had some
rare.
in the general area. We did have a couple of A's, but as far as in general, Forsan did as well, if not better, than everybody else. So congratulations on that. I always like to look at the glass half full.
Thank you. And we are excited about that. I do warn everybody, though, that it depends on the size of the district and the demographics of the district, and there's a million things that go in that. So we're proud to have the B. We'd like to have an A, but everybody, each school district is going to look at that differently and break things down, and it's really not fair to lay things out and make some of those generalized comparisons because situations are so different in district to district.
Well, and thank you, Randy, for being genuinely fair, as you always are. And back to school, of course, has been, people like you and Rebecca. Back to school started weeks ago, but this has been the first week of back to school. Overall, kind of give us a big picture at Forsan ISD, how the first few days have been.
I think it's been great. Our numbers are steady, maybe even down just a little bit. I honestly haven't gotten the totals all calculated out, but nothing that we're concerned about. I think it's just a steady flow of kids in and out. With the oil boom, if we want to call that, to our west. We're kind of on the edge of that, and so we're seeing a lot of in and out kids that have left as their folks got promotions or whatever, but other kids that are coming in. So we're holding steady on that. Housing is always an issue in our particular area. As far as we can tell, the houses are full, so we don't expect much increase or decrease. It's just a pretty steady enrollment for us. But yes, I think it's a great start to the school year, and we're excited to have everybody back. I think as administrators, I get a little bit more of a relaxed feeling once we get the first day started than Rebecca does, because she gets all the kids. But there is a sense of as we lead up to that, we're just ready to get to that first day and get it going, because there's a tremendous amount of work that our administrators put in behind the scenes as we go through the summertime, and especially as we ramp up the weeks before. So I'm proud of them, and I told them the other day, and we had our first admin meeting of the new year, that the success we had in the first day and the fluidity, the ease of things was a reflection of all the work that they had put in last spring and through the summer to get ready for that first day. So I'm proud of them, and I appreciate their work.
Let's zero in on the high school at Forsan ISD. Rebecca Medina, assistant principal there. How's that going so far these first few days?
It's going fantastic. We have amazing kids. I mean, I brag on our kids all of the time because they're just great kids and mannerly and respectful, and so they make it much easier to ease into a new year. We hit them with quite a few changes when they came back to school this year, and I have been amazed at how easily they just said, okay. And some of those changes were pretty major changes to them, and they handled it much better than most adults that I know would handle change. So they're doing really well. They're getting used to new schedules. We have sixth graders, of course, on our campus that come up, and so they're getting used to having 8 teachers now instead of 1 or 2. And It's a very fast-paced world, but they're happy and they're enjoying themselves, and so they're all doing really well.
Let's talk a little about the your 30-minute activity period that you have going on, and all the various and sundry adventurous things that you cover when you have that period.
Yes, sir. Well, initially last year we had that, and years leading up, and it was kind of originally put in there. It was a little 20-minute window in the day where the kids could go eat brunch, meet with their coaches, have student council meetings, things like that. And what we found was that over time it just kind of became a chaotic time during the day. Kids were going different directions, but the passing periods were built into that. So by the time they got where they were going, they usually had about 10 minutes. And we just found that wasn't really enough. We weren't getting our bang for our buck.
Right.
So we kind of tossed around totally getting rid of it. We tossed around different schedules throughout the day. And we had some feedback in the spring and especially over the summer from business owners, college professors, saying, even these Forsan kids who are great academically for the most part, they come out of school, they're respectful, they're really good kids, they're lacking in some areas. And it's like what we call soft skills. And so we thought, okay, well, maybe we won't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's keep this activity period. Let's see if we can tweak it and make it a little bit longer, and let's work on some of those skills. So that's what we're doing this year. We've adjusted their schedule, and we've shortened their passing periods, so they are really booking it through the hallways now. And they have 30 minutes for their activity period now. And each teacher is assigned a group of kids. And we will be working on everything from handshakes, making eye contact when you're talking to people, to college applications, to working on your taxes, how to change a tire, how to sew on a button, how to start a washing machine. I mean, just little, basically life skills. We've kind of called it Life Skills 101 that, in this testing age that we live in, we've zoned in so much on the academics that I think a lot of those things that we were taught growing up are just kind of getting pushed to the wayside.
Well,
So-
and there's all those little practical things that as adults we're so accustomed to, but as kids get out of high school and go to college or what have you, this is all new to them.
Absolutely.
For example, Mr. Mike, when I went to college, one of my first challenges at the dorm was I realized I couldn't operate the washing machine, or I had to figure it out. It was not easy. It was quite a challenge, and I thought, oh my gosh, I was embarrassed to ask. I can't operate a washing machine. I watched my mom run one for all of my years of growing up. But little things like that we don't think about. But that's a great use of time. Everything from the changing a tire to starting a washing machine, little things like that, but also career behavior things, like you said, eye contact and handshakes, and these little small practical things that add up, that to have those with you when you leave high school is as much of a plus in some ways as these bigger issues, academic issues. So kudos to you.
Thank you. And we've also, I think the thing we were most afraid of has actually probably gone the best. We decided to really enforce putting their cell phones away this year. Last year and probably years before, we'd given them quite a bit of freedom in the hallways and in the cafeteria during lunch or breakfast, and would let them be on their phones. We noticed that, and I think it's just a culture swing that we're seeing, that everyone is always on their cell phones staring at a screen, and I think that we do our kids a disservice. They don't know how to have relationships and friendships. So we this year we've decided we put red zones within the building, throughout the building. So different red zones, they cannot have their phone out. Well, that's cafeteria, hallways. And it was funny, just yesterday somebody mentioned, man, high school lunch is much louder this year than it was last year. And I said, they're talking to each other.
Not
And
messaging.
Yeah, they're talking and they're laughing. And I mean, we're already seeing that change. And the kids have actually thanked us for doing that. We've had a lot of kids this week say thank you. It's kind of a pressure off. We're talking to each other. We don't have to worry about if somebody's texting and talking bad about us. And they've done really well with that. And so we're pushing some of those leadership skills also through that activity period.
Anything else you want to touch upon, either Superintendent Johnson or Rebecca, in regards to the high school, or any follow-ups?
I was just going to add real quickly to what Miss Medina was talking about. We had a really neat workshop day with Howard College and employers from the area. Pardon me. as well as I think the other school districts were there. It was a large group talking about what kind of skills were needed in our area by employers, and how as school districts we need to meet some of those. And that was one of the areas. It's come from several areas, but one of the areas where we got the information about the cell phones. Employers don't like the fact that when you go into fast food, the person behind the counter is on their phone texting or playing a game or whatever they're doing, rather than making eye contact with you and so on. So we are working on that. So it's kind of a skills process. It's not just us wanting to have control or whatever over the kids. It's us trying to teach them, again, some of those soft skills and some of those things that we hope will translate into the workplace.
We're talking to Forsan Superintendent Randy Johnson and Assistant High School Principal at Forsan ISD, Rebecca Medina. We'll take a short break, back with a wrap-up right after this. And welcome back. I'm Mike Henry. We're talking to Forsan Superintendent Randy Johnson and High School Assistant Principal Rebecca Medina. On a final note, athletics. A lot of that already ramping up. You're getting ready for your Howard County Bowl competition,
Yes.
and then of course the regular season of football and other things.
Right.
I know this year you're kicking off. Pardon the inappropriate terminology. You're kicking off volleyball again at Forsan ISD.
And again is right, that we had it back in the 60s, 70s. I went back to some yearbooks and kind of looked at some of those pictures. It's kind of fun to do that. Now, there was some people. We had our every other year reunion, all-school reunion in August, and several of the ladies that were there talked about their experiences in volleyball at Forsan. But yes, we're excited about that. We've got a junior high program this year. So we'll gradually build that over the next few years to have a varsity program, but we'll start with trying to get some of the younger kids into a program where they can learn the skills, learn the game. As some people may already know, but others probably don't, I actually coached volleyball in another lifetime, way back at the beginning of my career. Didn't know anything about it, and was coaching basketball and some other things, and the school I was at decided they were going to add it, and they added it at the high school level, so we jumped right in. And it was funny because we were at a church Sunday school party the night before two-a-day started for volleyball, and they were giving me a hard time and asking me how many girls were on the court at any given time, and I was like, I don't know. At church parties we have 15 people on one side of the volleyball net. I knew nothing about it, but came to love the sport. Ended up being a varsity volleyball coach, and really enjoyed that process. And I'm looking forward to our students being able to participate in that. So junior high this year, and we're in the little break we were just talking about. I think they're scheduled to go some kind of tournament this weekend. So I'm curious. I honestly don't know whether they're just going to go watch or whether they're going to go compete, because there's a lot to learn before you can play that first volleyball match. But anyway, we are excited about that. Yeah, band is going. They had summer band. They're ramping up for football season and marching contest. It's another state year for us in band. So we're pretty pumped about that. Football, as you said, is going. Cross country is going. Those kids are out running. So there's a lot of activity outside the school day already.
And we're proud again to be bringing folks out there who can't go to the games, or listening from the games if they want to. We'll be broadcasting Forsan Buffalo football again this year. Looking forward to that. And good luck in the Howard County Bowl, you and Coahoma.
Okay. All right.
I can't show a preference there. I went to Coahoma and I like you, so what am I going to do? I'm locked in place.
It's always a good game. It really doesn't matter who wins. It's
Right.
been competitive
It's
year in and year out. Kids try hard.
And a big halftime show this year. Among the entertainments, they have Mark McKinney at the halftime show, brought to you by our friends at Bulldog Steel. Rebecca Medina, thank you so much for taking some time and visiting with us and talking to us about the high school. You're welcome back anytime. You can drag these people in anytime you want as special guests, Randy. We always appreciate.
Or maybe I'll skip and just let them come. I don't know. They've always done a great job, and we appreciate Mrs. Medina for sure.
Superintendent Randy Johnson and Rebecca Medina of the high school, all from Forsan. Thanks for your time. Good luck with the rest of the first week back to school.
Thank you.
And thanks for your time here, and we'll see you in the near future. I'm Mike Henry, KBYG News.